What if I told you that an entire planet, one way bigger than Earth, could float in water? It sounds completely impossible, like something straight out of science fiction, but it's true. Saturn, the second largest planet in our solar system, is so light for its size that it would actually float if you could find a bathtub big enough for it. Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing facts in all of space science. We'll uncover what Saturn is really made of, why it's so unique, and what this tells us about all the other strange planets out there in the universe. First, let's meet the ring giant. Saturn is the sixth planet from our Sun and easily the most visually stunning world in the solar system. Its diameter is over 72,000 miles, and it's about 95 times more massive than Earth. Of course, it's famous for that magnificent, massive ring system. But despite its incredible size, Saturn is surprisingly light. And that's the real key to this whole floating mystery. So, what does it even mean for a planet to float? Well, whether something floats or sinks has nothing to do with its size or weight, but everything to do with its density. Density is just how much stuff, or mass, is packed into a certain amount of space. A rock is dense, so it sinks. Wood is less dense, so it floats. Water has a density of 1 gram per cubic centimeter. Now, get this, Saturn's average density is only about 0.7 grams per cubic centimeter. That means, scientifically speaking, Saturn is less dense than water. But why is Saturn's density so incredibly low? Unlike Earth, which is made of solid rock and metal, Saturn is a gas giant. It's composed almost entirely of hydrogen and helium, with just a few trace amounts of things like methane and ammonia. These gases are extremely light. While scientists think Saturn might have a small, rocky core deep inside, the vast majority of the planet is just this huge, puffy, balloon-like structure of gas on a planetary scale. Okay, so if it's less dense than water, why don't we see Saturn just floating around in some giant cosmic ocean? Well, this whole idea is theoretical, a thought experiment. To actually float Saturn, you would need a bathtub wider than the planet itself. You'd also need water that somehow doesn't collapse under its own gravity, and conditions that pretty much defy physics as we know it. In reality, if you could somehow place Saturn in a giant body of water, the planet's immense pressure and temperature would cause the water to instantly vaporize. But the science stands. Its density means it would float. Let's put this into perspective by comparing Saturn to our own planet, Earth. Earth has a density of about 5.5 grams per cubic centimeter. Saturn's, remember, is only 0.7. That means Earth is nearly 8 times denser than Saturn. So even though Saturn is so much bigger, our planet is packed way tighter with heavy elements like iron, rock, and metal. And Saturn's atmosphere is anything but calm and gentle. The winds there can exceed 1,100 miles per hour. Massive storms, bigger than continents, can rage for years. And at its North Pole, there's a bizarre, hexagon-shaped storm that just keeps spinning. This incredibly fast-moving, chaotic atmosphere contributes to Saturn's low density and gives the planet its smooth, striped appearance from a distance. So, what about Jupiter? It's also a gas giant, even bigger than Saturn. Would it float, too? Nope. Jupiter is much denser. Its density is about 1.3 grams per cubic centimeter, which means it would sink like a rock in water. This makes Saturn the only planet in our entire solar system with an average density enough to float. It's truly one of a kind. And what about those famous rings? They might look delicate, but they are absolutely massive, stretching for thousands of miles. They're made up of countless particles of ice, rock, and dust. Some of these particles are as small as grains of sand, while others are as big as houses. But despite how wide they are, the rings are incredibly thin. In some places, they're only about 30 feet thick. The fact that a planet like Saturn can exist teaches us so much about the universe. Its low density shows us that planets can form in wildly different ways. Across the cosmos, astronomers have discovered puffy exoplanets, ultralight gas giants, and worlds even larger than Saturn, but somehow even less dense. Some of these planets are so light they've been nicknamed cotton candy planets. Saturn is our gateway to understanding these strange and wonderful worlds. So, could humans ever visit Saturn? Unfortunately, there's no solid surface to land on. If a spacecraft tried to descend into the planet, it would first pass through thick, hazy clouds. Then, the pressure would increase rapidly, and the temperatures would soar to scorching highs. Eventually, the spacecraft would just be crushed and vaporized. Saturn isn't a place you can stand on, it's a place you would fall through forever. In the end, Saturn may be massive, beautiful, and powerful, but it's also surprisingly light. So like that, in theory, it could float on water. It's a fantastic reminder that the universe is full of surprises and that even the biggest, most imposing planets can defy our expectations. Thanks for watching. If you want more unbelievable space facts and science that makes you see reality differently, make sure to subscribe.